I want, first of all, before I do this capsule, because it's going to be about some of the mistakes I made as a coach. Specifically here, one of the most common mistakes, which is training a client based on your own preferences, not what they need out of you. Now, you need to understand first the difference between a strength and conditioning coach and a personal trainer. Strength and conditioning coach works with athletes, so their only purpose is to improve athletic performance, which is a much narrower focus. Whereas a personal trainer will have to deal with clients with a lot more different goals. Some will want to focus more on fat loss. Some will want to improve some kind of sporting performance, like they play weekend basketball, weekend hockey, golf, whatever. Some will want to increase muscle mass. Some will want to increase strength. Some will just want to be fitter overall. Some will want to be healthier. So the difference between a personal trainer is and a strength coach is a strength coach need to be very well schooled or very knowledgeable on a much smaller area, because he doesn't necessarily need all the tools a personal trainer needs. The personal trainer is more of a generalist. They need to be able to be a jack of all trades. They will never necessarily be the best at any kind of training, but they are capable of using many different tools because they have just so many more different clients. Now, with personal trainers, one of the biggest mistakes there is, and one I made a ton of times when I was younger, is you design training program based on your own personal preference of the moment. This is even more often found in coaches who are, like me, what we call a neurotype 2A. You can refer to the videos on Thibarmy.com about the neurotyping and the 2A profile. The 2A profile is someone for whom everything works, but nothing works for a long time. The one training variable that is the most important is training variation. Like a type 1A will be intensity, type 2A is variation. They need to change things up very often. And what happens is that once they are doing a type of training, they become very passionate about that type of training. They want to push their knowledge as far as possible regarding that type. And everything else ceases to exist. So the main problem of a coach that is a 2A will be to become really infatuated with a type of training, and now everything else ceases to exist, and they want to use that approach with every single client, even though it might not be the training method that is the best suited for that client, okay? Not every client is you, so you can't train them the way you want to train, okay? Now, you have specialists. Like, let's take John Meadows, for example. John Meadows is, in my opinion, the best bodybuilding coach. I'm not necessarily talking about prep. I'm talking about in the gym building muscle mass. John Meadows is the best in the world, in my opinion. Now, all those who will buy a John Meadows program all want the same thing, because John is a specialist at building muscle. Not strength, not endurance, not sporting performance, muscle. So he doesn't need to have all these different training tools. For him, giving everybody what works for him or what he likes will work, because those who flock to him have the same interest. Now, if you are a personal trainer working in gym, you will have all these different clients, and not everybody will respond to what you're passionate about right now. The problem with a type 2A coach like that is that when he is focused on that kind of work, everything else becomes boring. For example, one time I was infatuated with gymnastic rings work. So everything I wanted to do was rings. Everything else became boring. The only weight training I was doing was to potentiate my ring performance. So I was training my clients only with rings, even though some were not prepared for it, some people were not interested by it, but everything else became boring. I did not want to use it. So you need, as a 2A or as a coach like that, to be aware that is a big pitfall, and you need to be able to be interested in the methods that will give your clients the best results. If you can't do that, when you present the training to them, it will either be what you are passionate about and what might not be adequate for the client, or you will force yourself to use a program that will fit the client, but you are so not passionate about it, then when you present to it, the client feels it, and because of that, subconsciously, he will lose motivation to do the program. As a coach, the most important thing is for the client to believe in the program. That is the number one most important thing for the client, to be able to put maximum effort day after day after day and get good results. So when you present the program, it is your duty to transmit your passion to the client. So you need to be aware of that pitfall, that when you are using something you're not passionate about, you might need to find a way to still transfer positive energy to your client. Otherwise, they will not train hard, they will not be as motivated, and it will not work for them.